A new study out of Ohio finds that a large majority of medical cannabis patients in the state say cannabis has reduced their use of prescription opioid painkillers as well as other illicit drugs. Approximately 3,500 state medical cannabis patients and their caregivers received a survey through the Ohio Department of Commerce. 78% of respondents agreed that cannabis reduces their need to use prescription painkillers. The new report was published as a preprint from the Ohio State University Law School's Drug Enforcement and Policy Center. Those who use cannabis daily were more likely to agree that cannabis reduced their need for prescription painkillers compared to those who use cannabis less than daily. The implication is that daily cannabis use is the optimal way to reduce painkillers, wrote Peter Leisure, a senior research associate at the Drug Enforcement and Policy Center. The study acknowledges that given the non-random sampling methods used, the data may not be representative of all cannabis users. Several policy implications could be mentioned in light of these findings, the report says. Ohio probation and parole officers should weigh the costs and benefits of removing cannabis prohibitions. The report suggests researchers should do studies comparing parolees with cannabis prohibition and those without cannabis prohibition. The outcome of the study would measure which group used drugs, committed technical violations, and or new crimes. According to Leisure, moving cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 would make robust research easier to conduct and help reduce obstacles to conducting experimental trials. So this is not the only study suggesting cannabis is preferable to prescription painkillers. Earlier this year, a study from Oregon found that nearby access to cannabis dispensaries moderately reduced opioid prescriptions. Another report published in BMJ Open compared medical cannabis and opioids for chronic pain and found that cannabis may be as effective as opiates, potentially offering relief with a lower likelihood of adverse effects. A study published last year again found that cannabis and opioids were equally effective in mitigating pain, but cannabis also provided holistic relief by improving sleep, focus, and emotional well-being. The AMA found that chronic pain patients using cannabis for at least 1 month significantly reduced the use of prescribed opioids, and another AMA report found that 1 in 3 chronic pain patients reported using cannabis for their pain. Finally, one study found that just letting people legally buy CBD led to a 6 to 8% drop in opioid prescriptions. So I didn't choose this study for the novelty of the information. We're all aware that cannabis improves chronic pain. The CDC estimates that 1 in 5 Americans have chronic pain. So why have cannabis sales in California declined by nearly 5% year over year? I see colorful packages and bud tenders who know how to get high but don't know much about health and wellness. So most dispensary staff don't realize that patients prefer the one-to-one balanced product for pain over THC or CBD alone. So how do we help patients with chronic pain? Can this huge chronic pain demographic revitalize the cannabis industry in California? Or maybe another Cheech and Chong celebrity experience will save the dispensaries in decline? What do you think? This is Dr. Jean Talleyrand with High at 9 News.
Interesting, Dr. T.
Is this still a question? If it helps you with opioid abuse. I mean, I know my personal experience is, it's the only thing that actually helped me get off opioids. But I mean, like people are still like questioning this. I'm glad you I covered the story and everything. And as we go state to state, yes, it helps you get off these hard fucking drugs that they pushed on you. But I just feel like it's kind of like a given at this stage. I know they can't say that. I know they can't say it legally. Like people can't say this legally to sell their products and shit like that. But
yeah, they can't put it on the packaging and market for that. Right.
Purpose. Yeah. The examples and of this shit, the testimonials are so vastly spread. Like at this point.
And you can recite studies. I mean, my note's not an issue. It's clear, but in science, you've got to repeat the study and come up with hundreds of different pieces of evidence to finally convince everyone. So we're in the process of doing that, and there's been a lot of agencies that have acknowledged that cannabis helps with pain. I think the groups that haven't yet acknowledged it are the very own dispensary operators. They are more comfortable selling cannabis for the high rather than the pain. And I think that just simply citing the list of evidence is a way you can do that. You can list this evidence and say all these studies show that it helps with pain. Is this a way to market your products to those with chronic pain? And also, a lot of people with chronic pain are the elderly. And grandma doesn't feel comfortable coming into a lot of these dispensaries. Until she does, then that's a demographic that doesn't have the opportunity as much to use cannabis.
I don't know. I would like to see the data out of Florida, because Florida's opioid epidemic is not something that's lost on anyone. If you've spent any amount of time there, especially North Florida, you see the number of billboards for pill mills and things like that. And a lot of the pill mill doctors have actually transferred over to writing medical recommendations, which is whatever. But I'd like to see some empirically verifiable data out of Florida, because I think that their medical market might be more indicative of kind of a transition away from the opioid epidemic and away towards cannabinoid-based medicine.
Yeah, but Florida, when they had those doctor mills open, that was like a haven for all of the pill suppliers from around the country to come in and to be able to get all of these different prescriptions, max out on them, and then fly back to their home state and distribute them throughout their communities.
I know you love Mar-a-Lago, but you need to spend some time in North Florida and see what those
I love North Florida. That's Matt's district.
Yeah, well, good for Matt.
You guys are off base. The pharma companies care about Americans over profits. They love us.
Started at a kitchen room table, right, Matthew?
Yes. Air was started at a kitchen table. Tablecloth was made of other humans harvested from concentration camps. But don't look at that, because they were at the kitchen table. Okay. They were a regular family.
Whoa.
They were buying and selling humans for medical experiments, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. We got to go to a commercial. We're going to be right back.